Already. Just came in early just to make sure I got this set up correctly. Going to start in 5 minutes, 7:55 right now. And we're going to start at 8 p.m. And if you're in here now, you can tell me where you're from, and we can go from there. But we won't be starting for another 5 minutes. Good night, Daniel, and good night, Marley. Glad to have you guys here again. Furman Broom, good day, brother. Good to see you too, man. Starting in 4 minutes. So feel free to tell me where you're from. If you haven't told me where you're from before we get started. Texas is in the house. Ryan Campbell, brother. How you doing, man? Appreciate it. I appreciate your support, Furman. Where you from? Colorado. Okay, I am from the Bahamas. I am from the Bahamas where it is usually warm and sunny. Okay, Cruz from the Dominican Republic. Alexander Cruz. I went there for my honeymoon 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Oh, Furman, originally from South Carolina. Okay. Okay, I have a friend down there in Sumter. Well, he's originally from Sumter. But okay, so we got everybody from a few different places so far tonight. I like that. I like that. So we're going to start in 3 minutes. Give some more people some time to jump on. And then we're going to get underway. Got a couple of topics we're going to touch tonight. So we're going to talk about the lie of breed type and the misconception of breed type. We are going to talk about if judges should be allowed to show dogs, and we are also going to talk about the leadership of David Wilson and the impact it's having on the ABKC and the American Bully community. Okay, so feel free if you're in there to tell me where you're from. If you've never been a part of our lives before, just feel free to let me know. Okay? 2 minutes. 2 minutos. Alabama's in the house. Bears and Bullies. Okay, John Tay, I see you. I see you, brother. I see you. Two M Bullies, California. You always here. Appreciate you. Neighborhood Bullies, North Carolina in the building. Appreciate you guys. LLC, Neighborhood Bullies. Glad to have you. We got America in the house, big time. 1 minute left before we get this party jumping, and we got to start. 1 minute left. Breed type is very important. He says if you go in public and they like or look like my pit bull, something is wrong. You don't have a true American bully by A.B.K.C. Okay. War Dog Kennels is in the building. Appreciate you guys coming on. Definitely, there definitely has to be a separation between, the American Bully and the Pit Bull Terrier, of course. David Baez, appreciate you coming on tonight. Peace and blessings to you and yours as well. And it is 8 p.m., so we are about to get started, guys. The first thing I want to touch tonight was um, the lie of breed type. Now, breed type itself isn't a lie. The way it's been used in the American Bully community has been misleading, to say the least. This is the only breed type right here that we need. All of the descriptions are in here. They're detailed enough for someone that wants to think objectively to understand. So it's not very difficult, especially when you look back from where the breed came from. If we even just take the last decade, and we look at the dogs that were once dominant in the ring, dogs that were once promoted by the A.B.K.C., there has been a big change in that. And what they are telling you is that those dogs today lack breed type, which doesn't make sense. Because I've said before, you can't erase history. I guess what their attempt to do is not even to change it, but to try to make it somewhat irrelevant. So when you look at the last national winners for the last decade, you're going to see a completely different dog than you're going to see when we are in the year 2030. And then you look at the prior decade, which would be 2020 to 2029, basically. And in my eyes, Dave is not really, it's being vague intentionally. And we see an emphasis on mass, just like Daniel said, an ABKC mass equals breed type. Exactly. Furman said he had a lot of judges for mentors. It's hard for me to say if they should be able to show or not. But if I were a judge, I would want be able to show my butt. But we're gonna touch that a little later. Good night, Marco Suarez in the house. Appreciate you coming on tonight, brother. So when we talk about breed type, especially when it comes to, I think it's really been thrown around when they're talking about classics. Brookhouse Bullies, appreciate you coming on, man. Classics are a dog that most are referring to when they say lack breed type. And we know that is false. A dog with lesser mass than the dogs that they are asking for today, they don't lack a breed type. They're simply just dogs with a lighter frame. That's all it is. And for me, it never made sense as to why there isn't a classic class for the pockets and the XLs if you're going to have it for the standards. It doesn't make sense to me. So I usually, if you've been talking with me for a while or been on our channel, I don't even use the word classic anymore. Any dog from 17 to 20 inches to me is a standard. Manuel Padilla, appreciate you coming on, brother. We appreciate you. So the way they're using it, Dave made a post the other day talking about the dogs not being excessive, the dogs not being overdone but extreme. But it's confusing for a lot of people, especially the newer people to the breed, not younger, sorry. When you have, and there's a reason I used the dogs in the pictures for the thumbnail that I used. I used King Kong and I used Bad Betty. They both were at the Nationals last year, which would be the 2022 Nationals. Bad Betty won the best female, and King Kong, if I'm correct, I think he won best champion, if I'm correct. But I think he did win a class, if I remember. And it's very confusing because Bad Betty is a very proportionate female, a very proportionate dog that is well balanced, a very good conformation. And then when you look at a dog like King Kong, he's very massive, very wide, excessively wide, overdone. And you're telling us in a way that this is the same dog, or you're telling us that King Kong is what you're looking for in the future and the near future. Beards and Bullies says his boy Chief don't run, gets it all the time, lacking breed type, but it's mainly mass and bone. Hell, it is confusing to the OG breeders at this point. Burkow says, I think Kong was best of breed also. No, Daniel, he didn't win best of breed. He won because Zero won best of breed, if I'm correct. I should call him my boy. He's only 55 pounds. Hey, Marty, I think that would depend on his frame. But he does sound like, it seems like he have a lighter frame, but that's just me. You don't have to do, or say the things that I say. That's just something that I do. But he's your dog to me would be a standard. And then there was a post the other day about Bashar made about he used King Kong, the picture of King Kong, saying that the dogs are supposed to be this wide or as wide as they are supposed to be long. And if you saw the post, a lot of ABKC, well, we don't say a lot. There were a few ABKC judges on it getting on him about what it was and informing him that he was incorrect. And it was just hilarious because there's obviously some confusion in what is going on because the judges were correct in what they were saying to him. However, he was being rewarded against what they were saying in the show ring. And if I'm not correct, I think he continues to win shows. So that in itself is a contradiction and something that needs to be looked at. Something that needs to be, someone, I should say, needs to be held accountable for that. Because there are a lot of good dogs. And see, tonight, there's no way we can have this conversation without talking about the credibility of the ABKC and the reputation of the ABKC, because when you see a dog like King Kong winning, with not the greatest conformation at all, it lends to the rumor that Bashar is a partial owner of the ABKC. It lends to those things and lessens the credibility, especially the show ring itself. The show ring, year after year is losing integrity. And you have more and more people saying that there's no point for them to show dogs. They can just breed and create producers because the show ring is more of a handout to certain people. Which brings me into JMGB Bully Kennel says the term breed type should be thrown out and replaced with balance. Exactly. It's like I said, and I don't have a problem with the word itself, breed type. I'm just saying, if you're going to use it correctly. Don't be misleading about it. Don't tell us one thing and then show us something else in the community. Don't say that this dog is good and then a dog who is the complete opposite is also what you're looking for. Because a lot of people are confused. And now that I think about it, actually, I'm thinking about a lot of people that I know that show that are very frustrated. And in my mind, I'm thinking that if I'm them, I would just stop showing. But there are people that have that just want that competition, that just want to prove what they have, what they've been building in their yards, and the time of training that they've put in. and they want to be rewarded and they want to be evaluated fairly. And I think everyone can agree with that there, Um, greetings, brother Marco. And what it brings me to this point: should judges be allowed to show their own dogs? About judge show period. Thank you, Rocio, for coming on. Appreciate you. And in my opinion, I feel like when you're, I feel like when you're deciding to become a judge, I think you should not. I think you should be ready to put that show ring part of it with your own dogs. At least you doing it or participating in handling. I think you should be ready to put that behind you. Now, I say this specifically because of the damage that the ABKC has received to their reputation. With a lot of people saying, and politics takes place in every aspect of our lives, from work to church. So it's definitely in the ABKC. But what we have now is like there was that video released the other day about the guy, the judge saying like the lady has a bad A dog and he has one flaw, which was very unprofessional of him. And then he rewarded the lady with the win, and everybody who understands confirmation on the most elementary level could see that that dog had way more than one flaw. But this is the kind of thing that we're dealing with. So, in my opinion, I don't think judges should be allowed to show. I think they should be allowed to show their not them personally, but I think their program, the dogs that they've taken time to breed and produce. I think they should be allowed to be shown by someone that is not a judge. So I think that would help with the credibility. I think that would help with the bias, and we know usually human error is something that we can't really change. People are always going to look at who is on the end of the leash, and they are, depending on their status, they're automatically going to have an advantage. So I think to bring the integrity back to the show ring, I don't think judges should be allowed to show. They shouldn't be allowed to show their dogs or someone else's dogs. I think, in terms of judging of the judges, the only persons that I think should be allowed to show, in terms of judging, I think a judge should be allowed to show their blood, but from a normal handler that isn't a judge. And you see people, sometimes the judges, they take offense to it, and they because it is what they're doing. But I don't think anybody means it in that way to be offensive towards them. But it's the truth. If you look at the show ring, and there's many shows where a lot of dogs are winning that don't have great conformation, that don't have great movement, um, that you see, obviously, like now the Merles are coming in. So if if this is what we're seeing now, it's only about to get worse. You know, Be More Bully says he thinks we should have less shows. That way, competition will be better, and winning can mean something again. That is a way to look at it. But I guess it really wouldn't change if the registry is still looking for a certain type of dog. I think that could actually be a little, almost harder in a way. But they'll still know whose dog it is. Yes, Speed of the Bull. They still will know, but at least the registry can do everything on their part to say that we've done as much as we can to remove the bias and remove the politics from it. Because if I'm a judge, I would still like to breed and produce good dogs, especially good quality dogs that are great representations of the American Bully. I think their dogs should still be allowed to be in the show ring. Like I said, I just think when you reach that level and you're judging, you shouldn't be doing it for yourself, to help yourself, your reputation, and for the registry. I think, in a way, I think that should be a no-brainer. But some people just still love to do it. I think if you're gonna show, you should not be allowed to show in that registry where you are a judge. That's another way. I think if if you could help them, that's a way to go. What do you guys think? Tell me what you think. Manuel says, "Come on, Kent, bring it. Let's listen and hear them bring it so we can get the most out of what is trying to be conveyed because there is confusion on interpretation." And then Be More Bully says, "Let the judges show against each other." Well, that is an interesting one. Let the judges show against each other. That is a very interesting one. But Manuel, yes, I hope that maybe some of them are here and that they can um, give us their opinion on the matter. JMG Bully Kennel says, "Couldn't the judge with the production just ask the regular person to handle?" Which is what I suggested, and what I think is fair. Frank Gutierrez said, WBA is the best registry. I guess only time will tell, brother. The WBA is definitely doing some good things. They are putting together some good people. I think they're starting to do more shows in the U.S. I think they've had, I think they have some coming up in Texas and California this year, and they've possibly had one in Virginia. But they're definitely coming more to North America, from what I understand and what I heard from Oscar about a year ago. I think when we spoke on the phone, and I was asking him about having more shows throughout the entire U.S. And I think that would be the best way for the WBA to grow. But from what I've seen so far from the WBA, I've really liked what they've been doing, and they post their champions and the dogs that win titles on their Instagram page, and you really get to see. I mean, when you look at the dogs, you don't see a lot of high res, you don't see a lot of bad fronts. So I like what I've been seeing so far. Hopefully, sometime in the future, I can make a WBA show and be able to go out there myself, because I've been to a couple ABKC shows, but I would really like to make it out to a WBA show. Daniel says they should have rules like the AKC does for judges to shows, which wouldn't be a bad idea at all. Bears and Bullies says what is needed is breeder education. That is also very important as well. I think there should be seminars before shows. I think that's fair. When the A.B.K.C came here years ago for the first show that was held in the Bahamas, I was disappointed that the fact that they didn't educate us, being a much smaller market than the U.S. and it being the first time in our history that we had an A.B.K.C show. That was back in about 2013, and we had a small turnout of dogs that would have qualified back then, which was about, I want to say it was about 6 or 7 American bullies, and there were a whole lot of people that had like these exotic mixes and bulldog hybrids. But at that time, they weren't allowed to compete. But some of those dogs that look exactly like them today are in the show ring, and Kong being one of them. But Kyan says judges shouldn't show at all. I agree. Also, I've been to AKC, UKC, ADBA, IWPA, NKC, and they are all free. Bully shows are the only dog shows that charge an admission. Interesting. That is crazy. I guess I need to try to make my way to one of these AKC or UKC shows. That is so interesting. Elroy Bullies, appreciate you coming on. Speed of the Bull. Bears and Bullies. Judges should teach classes on what's conformation and breed type. I agree. I agree with that, brother. LD Baywood, what up, kind? Are they allowing Merles in? What's up, my brother? Baywood, they are allowing Merles in. Um, I've heard someone told me, I think in a show in Texas last year or the year before. I think it was last year, and they said a Merle has a title. And that was something I was just looking at, because you have the standards, and then you have where it says the Merle pattern, but I don't know if y'all can see that. But the Merle pattern or botched is a disqualification. Now, why, for the life of me, I mean, well, obviously we know this is a money move, but is it best for the dogs? Definitely not. But in the standards, unless they change the standards, and this was from 2021 that I have, because people have been saying that they have been changing it, and I don't know if that's true, because I haven't tried to print out a new copy of the standards, but I definitely will be looking into it. And there's just so much things going on that's crazy. I think they had a Merle Frenchie in some part of the world last year that won probably best in breed. Oh, appreciate you coming on, Oscar Gomez, brother. Yes, I would love to make that happen. We definitely are going to Birds and Bullies, but in other registries, ICBR, BRC, A.B.K.C doesn't allow Merles to show, but to be registered. Um, like I was saying, someone actually said that they were at a show when a Merle pointed at an American Bully. Now, I can't actually speak to how factual that is, but someone did say that when this big Merle situation came up. Jerry James, appreciate you coming on, brother. Okay, so one thing I also wanted to touch on was the leadership of Dave. Um, when I first when I first got into the American Bullies, I thought Dave was, I mean, like he could do no wrong in my eyes, and I've said this before. Like I would defend the ABKC left, right, and center until like this is now like about my 10th year being in this breed, and I've seen so much, and I've had so much bad things happen with the dogs that I've had, that I've experienced, and I thought that it was only me until I started speaking to other people about the dogs, and they told me that they were experiencing the same things too. And obviously, through that time period, the dogs had evolved, which that word has also been used out of its proper context, to now this new extreme bulldog that we're having with crop days. JMG says, no, Jerry James, no, brother. I see you, brother. I see you. You're not missed. You're right. I got you, brother. Jamboree says, now I've seen Merles in the ring, but I've also seen judges tell people with Merles that they will let them participate, but can't give them a ribbon. Interesting. I haven't heard anybody speak on that. And Manuel said, let me clarify. There's a confusion on the interpretation of the ABKC standards. Judges are saying one thing, but what they are picking in the show ring is different. And I think a lot of people have seen. You would be 100% correct. We have seen dogs with extremely high rares, extremely bad movement, winning shows, best in shows, um, winning champion classes. It's been crazy. And that's why I'm so excited about what the WBA is going to have in store in the future. DLK, what's up, brother? Yes, sir. Good to see you, man. Rican Bully says, what up, fam? Appreciate you coming on, my brother. Rican Blues. Neighborhood Bully says, who do you think should be the ambassador for the North America bully breed, in my opinion? I don't think there is one. I think There are a few people that really stick out to me when I think of the American Bully. And there are a lot of good breeders, and there are a lot of people that really go unnoticed because they're a smaller kennel. But there are a lot of people that breed a lot of good dogs. But when I think about ambassadors, um, I think of, especially when I look at their kennel, I think of Marco Suarez. I think of Tony Gold at Weight and Gold Kennels. And I think of Oscar Gomez, especially in what he's doing with the WBA. And I think that is important for the advancement of the American Bully in the right direction. When I look at what Marco has done and Tony has done and those other guys and Oscar and them and the dogs, some of the dogs that they've produced, um, it inspires me. It gives me hope that that this breed is not lost, even though it feels that way at times. And sometimes if I speak to one of them or if I go on their pages and see the dogs that they are continuing to put out with good conformation, with great angulation, with good movement, good headpieces, not overdone to the point where the dog can't function the way it's supposed to function, and is that is really what keeps me going. If I was to be honest with you, that really. So those guys I think should be ambassadors for this breed. And attest to this, I think that right now, and I'm being non-biased, the WBR is doing it in the shows, and the judges are sticking to this. Now, I think you mean I've never heard of WBR unless you're meaning WBA. Neighborhood Bullies said, I have a couple in mind. Marco, I agree, brother. Rican Blues, WBA needs to come to Florida. I agree. If the WBA comes to Florida, I will be there. No question. It is a 30-minute flight for me. I would be there without no hesitation. DLK also says, haven't seen any murals being shown at ABKC events I've been to. BRC, they are welcome. That is true. They are. I heard the BRC, they are allowed, and I myself haven't seen them at the ABKC show, but from what I've heard from a few other people, it's definitely been happening. Not like a lot, and obviously, like I said, it's a money move. If you can register a Merle, and I think Dave actually said this too a while after, a year or so after I said it, that there's only so long you can go for from receiving money from that community or that group without allowing them to be in the show ring. Because the trend that was a Merle for the past, I want to say, shoot, 5 6 years, and even longer, the amount of breedings that people have been doing to Merles and putting in paperwork. Could you imagine the amount of money and from the amount of litters that the ABKC had been making? And we're talking about, imagine if, I mean, a minimum of anywhere from 3 to 5 puppies in a litter. And just think about all the people that you've seen on Facebook and online breeding to Merles. Imagine how much money they have been contributing to the ABKC. So I would imagine that it would be hard for Dave to say no, because right now money is their main motivation. One thing I never hear Dave talk about, but I'll say two things. I never hear Dave talk about the health of the breed. I never hear him talk about it. If he does, he will mention the word like healthy, but never go in depth about what is going on with this breed. Why the life expectancy is so short these days. He touches confirmation, but doesn't go in great detail about confirmation at all either. Because if you look at the last three, let's say the last two, no, let's say from Samson to Blue to Zero, and every dog has a flaw. I get that, but when Samson beat the Bear in 2019, it was absolutely ridiculous. And that was one of their breed type things like there's no way you can pick Samson over the bear conformationally. It just can't happen. Blue has incorrect tail, but I guess that's not that's not a disqualification, just a fault. But he's national champion. And zero, this has like to me like straight as stifles. But I think he's a nice dog. But he won. But if you look back at like the bus, Master Shifu, Sweet and Low, um, who else is there? Axel. Man, these dogs, conformation and movement. If you would have put them next to those three dogs I just named that won nationals the past 2 to 3 years, they would blow them out the water. No question. No question. LD says he's seen a French bully the size of a standard bully. I think I've actually heard of that. Chris Russell said they said something about them coming to the ABKC. Yeah, he did. I saw it was an interview on Paparazzi. I think that where Dave mentioned something like that. Marley asks, "What is your opinion on what makes a breed and pet quality dog different?" You're talking about a dog that is being bred and a pet quality. I think a pet quality dog. Now that you say that, I think a pet quality dog is a dog that just has so many flaws that it can't. It has so many flaws that it can't really bring anything to the breeding, especially if it's not functioning as the breed itself. I think I don't even think that's a dog that should not even just be bred. Those dogs, those are puppies that you kind of like, kind of call those. But pet quality, I think, is just something that's, I guess depending on how technical you want to be about it and how hard you want to be on it. There are some dogs that just shouldn't be bred. I think we can understand that. And I think there's some of them that also shouldn't be pets either because they're not able to function and they really limit the quality of life that the owner can have as well in a way. So in my opinion, that's what I would say. Jerry James said, "Food for thought. People allow Will Breeze what a registry allows. People will breed what a registry allows." Exactly, Jerry. They will do that all day and night, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing in the show ring, because what the Dave I've heard Dave and they say, "Well, we're here to serve you. Whatever you want is what we're gonna do." But that's what you kind of say as a business owner when you're looking to bring in more money, when you're looking to bring in more revenue. But Dave hasn't taken a stand and said, "Hey, we don't want any more of these dogs. We want these dogs to be healthy, to be moving well, to be functioning, to be living longer lives, having better quality of lives, a quality of life, sorry." And that just hasn't been something that they've emphasized. Forget about health testing. That's something they're never gonna do. But yeah, as he says, at this point, great confirmation is somewhat rare these days. It is in the show ring, but there's so many good dogs. I can't wait for some of the future videos I'm going to do. Every time I come, and I like to see dogs a side shot and not necessarily stacked. They I really like to see the true shape of a dog. I like to see where his shoulders are in the picture. I like to see his rear, his angulation. Those are things that are very important to me. Heart and Soul Bully said, "Have you ever seen Thompson in person?" No, sir. I don't even think I want to see him in person. He's rather huge. I think I would probably be afraid. Samson is something to me that has been. I'm not a fan of Samson, but Samson does have a few kids that I really like. 2021 Nationals Classic champion in Oklahoma. What is his name? He was owned by Ramona Bulls. Oh man, I really like this dog. I can't remember. It's Joshua. He lives in China now. And then his other son, Golden Bear, that also lives in China. Um, so I like two dogs that I've seen from Samson, but I do not. I don't like him. I'm not a fan of him, if I'm to be honest with you. Chris also asked, so what are your style of dogs, XL or standard? I like, personally, I prefer, I was an XL guy when I first came into the breed, but I prefer a smaller dog now. So right now, I'm trying to deal with strictly pockets. I'm, I think I may have to add a standard in here or there, but right now, I'm trying to do my best to stick with the pockets. The XL is just too big for me to manage right now. What is your opinion about the standard changing in a registry? What affects these changes? Is it political? The owners of the registry change the standard for friends, or does the change have reasons? Um, well, that would depend on what the change is. Is the change something that is for the betterment of the breed itself, or is it better for the registry? And I think if we ask ourselves what the decisions that are being made affect the dogs or the people, then I think that tells you right there what the motive is. Okay? The neighborhood bully. What do you think about the dogs with flaws with great blood and genetics? It happens. I was just talking to a friend about this the other day. What I think about dogs with flaws, but they have great pedigrees, so to speak. Um, it happens. Um, People don't like to tell you, like they'd like to give you this perception that they breed an entire litter, 1 to 8 puppies, and they're all exactly the same. The conformation is the same, and that's not true. And I've realized that when you're breeding dogs, you're gonna have puppies that have this. He may have this one may have better angulation than this one. This one may have a better headpiece than this one, and it happens. No dog is flawless, like they say, but I believe what you do is you take the best and you try to improve upon it every single time. And you always take the best and keep going from there, generation after generation. And if more people were to do that, we would have much better dogs today. Tyrone says Bruno Belize has some good quality. She definitely does. I like some of her older stuff. Some of her newer stuff is a lot bigger than what I'm looking for, but it's still nice, and I think they can be used for certain features that the ABKC is looking for. Um, and me and Molly chat on Messenger every once in a while, but her program has been around for a while, and she will definitely be remembered for everything that she's done. I would really like to see her use some of her old blood again. That's what I would really like to see. But Molly is tier one in my book. Rican Blues. It's all about how big and extreme they are today. Yeah, it definitely is, brother. That's all they really care about. Trey S says shows are pointless and do nothing to change public perception of the breed. I can see what you're saying. I could agree, with you to an extent, based on what we've all seen in the recent future. But the last show I went to was last November in Oklahoma, and that's all I saw. A lot of big dogs with a lot of stiff stifles. You had one or two dogs that would, I mean, like really good conformation that made me. Well, actually, there were like 3 or 4, and I took videos of them. And if you go to my shorts, you'll see some of them. Brassman X says, "Do you think breed type is a lie?" I think the way they use breed type is a lie. I touched on that way in the beginning, but I think the way they use it is a lie and is misleading. But the word itself, obviously has its place, but the way they use it, it's just simply not true. Elroy says 2 years ago my female was considered pocket and now she's considered standard in the ABKC. I think that can be avoided. I mean, a dog, depending on how tall or short it is, can be that's borderline with the height requirement for the class, can be mistaken at times. And I think More people need to wicket the dogs at the shows or call for a wicket so that you can know exactly what you're dealing with. I think that needs to be done due to the change of the standard. Well, Elroy, I had to look into that. I haven't heard about that. Molly says to Jerry, what are the major and minor flaws? Jerry Jerry did say something like that, but I missed it and I can't go back up to see what Jerry was saying. But Molly says it could be nutritionally or environmental. Chris says, what are your top five pockets right now with the best conformation, rear head, and chest spread? What blood do you prefer? Ooh, my top five pockets. I made a video about this. Is that all time? Right now, let me see. Master Shifu is one of my favorites of all time. We're talking about pockets. Um, then I also really like. I like Bad Betty, by from owned by Gaines Bullies and her son Bass Reeves because I've seen them in person in Oklahoma. I like them. There was a dog I also saw that was a muscle tone cross with Waffle House blood, I think. Yeah, a flu game son named Castle. I also like flu game and his son Castle. I saw Castle in person, and this was a big muscular pocket. I mean, I almost thought he was a standard, but he was amazing. And those are a few of my favorite pockets. It's kind of hard for me to remember because there's so many dogs in my mind when I think about it. But those are definitely some of my favorite pockets, and I think they're all underrated in some way or some shape or form. Twin bullies, in my opinion, Suarez Bulls has one of, if not the most consistent American bullies. Great conformation temperament, hands down. If you've been paying attention on Facebook and you've seen the dogs that he's been posting, dogs that we have never, some of us has never seen. I didn't even know he'd produced some of those dogs. I didn't even know Samurai Paco had some of those kids. I mean, it's amazing to see. And he's been doing it for so long, and he's been sticking to the same script, the traditional American bully pockets, and then he has a few standards here and there, and it is just amazing to see, and it's inspiring for me. The breeder life, I think, is too much for me, but when I do breedings, I look to him for inspiration from what I see. It's just amazing. Them Florida exotic shows from LD says they are pointless. I agree. Barry says, who are your dogs registered with? If we don't like ABKC, should we register with them? But mine are ABKC registered because I bought them from people who had them ABKC. But I registered them as well when I got the puppy papers. But I have no problem dual and triple registering my dogs with the WBA or the UKC as well. I don't think it could hurt at all. Just a couple extra dollars you have to spend. Trey says majoring in the minors and talking about irrelevant things is why things will never get better. Most are repping their bullies, pit bull blood or pit bull relatives. Insanity. Expand on that. I don't really know what you're meaning, so I'll come back to that. But Jerry says, in his opinion, if a dog conforms to the standard, it can't help but have breed type. To separate the two is ridiculous. Jerry, you are on point, my man. You are on point. That's what I'm saying. If it conforms to the standard, it can't help but have breed type. Oh man, that's perfect. Bros, man, I agree with you too. I agree with him too, brother. Marco Suarez says, let me say this again. Respect for the breed. We have to be very careful about how the word evolution is used in the hands of persuasive speakers with a personal agenda. Exactly. And I made a video on that talking about evolution takes place in nature and it is not manipulated. So they're using the word saying that the breed is evolved, but that's not the actual context that it has that it's supposed to be used in. It's been specifically changed by man. That is not what evolution is. Evolution takes place in nature based on things that are happening in the environment, and mainly for the purpose of survival and thriving. So we appreciate you sharing that point, Marco. Rican Blue says my girl is dual registered with WBA and ABKC. That's the way to go. Daniel says, will there be a part two interview with Gorilla Kennels? I don't know. I haven't spoken to him in a while, Mike from Gorilla Kennels. So we have to see. I don't know if he is still doing anything with dogs. He had spoken about it, but I think he's probably going to be out of it for a while. Elroy Bully says, how difficult is it to get dual registration, transfer registration from ABKC to WBA? I don't think it would be difficult at all. I don't think it should be any different from transferring from ABKC to UKC or something like that. I I guess it's just a matter of finding out where the ABKC's platform is and how you would go about doing that. I mean, not the ABKC, the WBA. Sorry. And I think it may have an app as well. But yeah, you could check it out. I definitely think it would be worth your while because I think I'm definitely going to do that as well. Tyrone Smith says El Toro is nice. He is nice. I wish there was more of his blood around today. Marco says evolution or destruction. Correct. Barry says respect Marco. You're a legend. All the way from the UK in the house. We appreciate you coming on, Barry from the UK. Marco is a legend. Just want to put that out there. And Oscar too. We could go on with those kind of guys, but for sure, appreciate them spending time with us and making their voices heard tonight. Barry, what is going on with the XL situation over there in the UK? Please, if you would like to share, I would really like to know what is happening. Rican Blues says WBA has a website you can register. Okay. Jerry James also asks Marco, who do you register your dogs with these days? And I appreciate you guys coming on as well and spending time with me. If you can, for me, and you like the conversation that we're having, if you could please hit that like button, I would appreciate that for me. Elroy says, in your opinion, what has been the biggest mile marker breeding these dogs? Can you rephrase that for me? What has been the biggest mile marker? David Baez says we need to add a class on function, ability on the breed. David Baez, that cannot happen. It should happen, but it cannot happen. If you remember, for the last two nationals, Blue and Zero had to be cooled down, if I remember correctly. And that's in an air-conditioned building, if I'm correct. And if you're talking about function, those dogs wouldn't pass. In that case, even strictly from a movement standpoint, dogs their size, a lot of them they wouldn't pass. I think they should be encouraging more like weight pulling and a lot of those activities the UKC has, like diving and things to show agility as well, to show what these American bullies really can do, especially one that is really well built. And thank God the UKC has those events available and for our breed. And they have a dog out there, American bully named Watson, that has been doing really well, owned by oh man, I can't remember his last name, Josh, but the UKC definitely allows it for our breed. Oh, what has been the biggest mile marker for you and the greatest memories in the bully world? My greatest memory in the bully world was when I went to 2014 nationals, and I was just getting into the breed, and I was a XL guy at the time, And then I had seen these dogs like I think maybe Wrath of Waller. There was like I was strictly hanging out with the XL guys, and at that time they didn't even really care. They had dogs that like 160 pounds, 130, 140. And at that time, at the nationals, it was like who has the biggest XL, not the most complete or balanced dog. And I remember looking in the show ring and seeing dogs with great conformation, great top lines, and I was like, why do these dogs look so different? Why do they look so well balanced compared to what the XL guys had? And I definitely think I left there changed that day from what the American Bully was supposed to look like, and it definitely had a big impact on me. And it was in Atlanta because Atlanta's not too far from here as well. I took a flight to Florida and then one to Atlanta from stayed at my cousin's house. And one of my dreams was always to go at that point in time. And I was like 20, my early 20s, and I was so excited to go to ABKC Nationals. And I took so much pictures, and that's a memory I will never forget. And Sweet and Low won, and I was trying to figure out how to get a puppy from her years later. And I wish I had taken the time to make more connections with people, but I was so young, I probably was a little nervous at the time. But that won't happen again. I definitely make as much relationships and friends as I can in this breed. Marco says, "What everyone think when the standard was done 20 years ago was created for a future dog. The standard wasn't meant to change. The dogs that they had back then were what they were looking for. And there's a video of Dave actually saying that as well. He actually talked about the dogs getting tighter and more athletic, when now we're seeing the exact opposite: more mass, less function, less athleticism. Heart and soul bullies. That's the classic class I think you're referring to, but the UKC stuff. Marco says ABKC, UKC, and WA asking for when he registers, so triple register. Yeah. Be More Bully says, I would win it all. My bulls are athletic. Hey, that would be cool, but there's a lot of people with a lot of athletic dogs too. You would definitely have your hands full competing with a lot of dogs. 2M says, I believe when a standard is made, the only reason it should change is to do better by the breed, not to destroy it. A1. I love that. That's true. And that's exactly what it should be. Even if you, even if, the funny thing I just said to myself today was that I've heard Dave, I think in a recent interview, talk about what he wants the breed to be now. A more extreme dog. But he also, because I think someone asked a question on one of his interviews about the classic class, and he was saying that I want you to pay attention to this. He said that we don't want to get rid of the classics because he said, but it's good to have a classic that you can keep in the cut to come and refresh the blood that you have. Now, that used to be the reverse. What he's basically saying is that the classic, because I don't believe in that, but the classic dog is now the tool dog. And now the tool dogs that are extreme are the prototype. The classic dogs, the dogs with the lighter frames, are now the tool dogs. Those are the ones that you're only supposed to use to help to clean up. So where do you think the breed is going to go from there? Manuel agrees with 2M, and so do I. Key Williams says, Yo, Donnie, what's up? Be More Bullies, and boy, Jail the Truth. Waiting Gold and Blue Pride Cross. I would like to see that. I think that if that was you I was speaking to on Instagram, then that was a very nice boy. That was a Waiting Gold cross with Blue Pride. A combination I had never seen before either. I like that. OG Abo says 99% of these breeders won't breed to a classic because they think it's breeding backwards. That blows my mind every time. The only thing backwards is those breeders' mentality. Yeah, to them, oh my, if you look at the amount of stiff, stifled American bullies right now, and then everybody has this popular stud syndrome where they all have to breed to the same dogs. They all have to breed to Brim. They all have to breed to Grim. They all have to breed to Golden Child. Um, um, it's all the same thing. I've seen so many pedigrees with the same dogs. It's crazy. I don't want to know what the gene pool is going to look like in the next 5 years. It's going to be, it's absolutely insane. But they think that breeding to a dog with a lighter frame that is more athletic, that has better angulation, that has better fronts, better proportion, better balance, is breeding backwards. Think about that. Think about how crazy that is. Like when someone says to you, breeding to a healthier, more functional dog is breeding backwards. Things like that. When I speak to someone like that, I know that the conversation is going to be limited, and there's no point in even speaking at that point. And those same people, if you realize, they only talk about they usually talk about money. They talk about breeding. They talk about what how they can benefit, and not the dog. It's never the dog. It's always how it can benefit them. Otherwise says, do you think the shows from the old days in the late 90s and early 2000s when it was about the barbecue and the tailgating and the dogs could come back? It could but it would take certain people to do it, with a certain mentality that like to see a certain kind of dog. Yeah, it's definitely toxic lately. Money influences the standard. Only in the bully word. Be more. You hit it right on the nail with that one. Key Williams, he's got 25-inch head and it's clean. Yes. I'd definitely like to see more of him. I'd like to see a side shot of your boy too. Pratt Spitz is a legend too. His dogs are very nice. I forget about Mr. Carlton Pratt over there in California. California has a lot of big time breeders. Too much to almost count. 2M believes, how can the classic be a tool to fix the breed and considered breeding backwards? Exactly. That's what it is, and that's the problem. OG says COI in breeding. Yes. Jerry James is a aficionado at the COIs. So if you're looking for any assistance with that, you can get in contact with him on Facebook, and he will definitely help you out and put you in the right direction in regards to that. Marco says, I registered some with one or the other, and actually some with two of the registries, not all three. Rican Blue says, to me, the classic is a standard. I bred my pocket girl to King Asher, who's considered a classic. Pups came out with good structure and health. I would like to really see those. I have you on Facebook. Could you message me some of those puppies? I would really like to see that. Rican Blue says, okay, I heard that. Barry says the sad thing is Dave knows dogs very well. He does. And that's why I said this guy is so intelligent. He's just preying on the ignorance of a lot of people and preying on the greed of certain people as well. But Dave definitely knows better. He definitely knows better. Taki says, I got an LV dog and she can hop my 5-foot fence and breathe with her mouth closed. I was surprised. LV, you mean Louis V? And if so, then hey, that's what's up, brother. Those are traits you definitely would want to pass down, you know? Yes, Regan. So I look forward to seeing that. Elroy says, if you could remove something from the bully world, what would it be? If I could remove something from the bully world, dang, that's tough. If I could remove something or someone, that is the question. If I could remove something from the bully world that would benefit, they already took the extreme class away, which I think was very beneficial. Even though they've included those kinds of dogs in the standard now, I would probably start with because of the reputation of the ABKC right now and the integrity of the show ring. I wouldn't allow the judges to show. That is something I would start with. I can say what I would add. I would add health testing. I think that's very important, and that's not to say that the health test is, you know, there's still so much going on with the breed in terms of how accurate the testing is. Even something like what about card, like an issue like card four, and their appreciate you coming on, Barry. Yeah, appreciate you coming on, brother. Hopefully we can talk again in the future. But what was I saying about the health testing? Yeah, with the card four issue, Embark themselves seems to have an issue with that. They're saying that it doesn't affect the American bully, even dogs that carry two copies. So it's hard for me to kind of tell because I've seen people breed dogs with two copies of card four, and they say that dogs haven't been affected, but I don't know. And I know a lot of American bullies carry that gene. You know, OG says I wouldn't say they're skittish, but they lack drive. Okay. Marco says some people brag about how expensive they sell their dogs, but it doesn't mean they sell quality dogs. They are just good salesmen. Yes, I agree with Marco. And also, they are just preying on the ignorance of um, of people that don't know any better. And sometimes, it's kind of like name brand things. When you see something that's more expensive, you assume that it's better. When in this case with the bully community, it really isn't. In some cases, you know, actually, in most cases, the guys that actually make the most money in the American bully community, I would say they don't actually have the best quality dogs. And I think everyone here can attest to that. OG Albo says the real American bully is coming back in a few years. I hope it's sooner than later, but I think we are about to see, especially with an influx of some good dogs. I think there's some people out there that I've seen doing breedings that are going to put some good dogs together really soon. And I think right now the WBA is the home of the traditional American bully. So I would say it's here. I think they're going to need time to grow and to get the team together for all the personnel that they need to pull off shows from Alaska all the way to Florida and even the Bahamas. But we definitely want to see that happen. And I will always continue to promote the true American bully, the traditional American bully, because I know it's a healthier dog. And like I said before, the American bully breed is already an overdone breed. People that see my American bullies, people would say my dogs are probably classics. People that see my American bullies here, freak like they're like, why is your dog so muscular? Why is your dog so buff? And I'm thinking, man, if these people think that with my 16-inch pocket, who was like 60 pounds, just a lot of muscle, but I just placed him with one of my friends the other day. What are they gonna think if they see a dog like Samson or something? Dog that they probably just run and be afraid, But those traditional dogs are the ones that that I'm rocking with, and that I will always promote. I will always promote health and conformation. If you've seen my Facebook page, on my YouTube page, on my Facebook group, Clean and Correct Bullies, That's all they promote. That's all we talk about. You know, and that's what it should be. Trying to get things back to what it used to be. Elroy says Dave Wilson's IG Live was talking about doing business with MBAR. Do you think they will start asking breeders to do a test prior to allowing registration? If do, what would that beat out for the bad breeders? I don't think it'll change anything, and I promise you, Dave won't do that. Um, and then if he does, I mean, I don't think that would be pure. I don't see him doing something like that. That wouldn't be in the best interest of him and the bank account of the A.B.K.C. I don't see that happening. Because if you're going to do it, why now? You've had so much time to do it. You've had years to do it. So yeah, I don't believe it. John Smith says he agrees with the WBA. I wish they would come back to the South. I mean, come to the South. Yeah, I think it's coming, brother. I think it's coming. Neighborhood Bully says, I used to get discouraged that my pups didn't sell for as high as I'm starting out. For as high as I'm starting out. I'm realizing I have to get my name and productions out there before the community realizes what I have to offer. Well, I would say to you, neighborhood, there are people who are in this breed for money. I mean, there are people that just straight up admit that. And then there's people who are in it just to make good dogs because they love the breed. And you'll have to figure out which one you are because there aren't a lot of people that make a lot of money. I found a lot of people lying about the price that they've actually sold dogs for. And maintaining dogs, maintaining a kennel is not only time consuming, but it's very expensive. Having a litter of puppies, taking care of the mother, taking care of the puppies, puppy shots, maintaining those dogs. Puppies get into all kind of things, dirt, things that cause them to get sick. It's it's very it's expensive, and it's not you lose a lot. So I would tell you to really think about that and consider it because a lot of people, especially this past year, were stuck with a lot of litters and had to give out a lot of discount prices on some of their dogs, or keep the dogs. But that's just the situation, and I've decided that I don't want to be a breeder. After doing a couple of breedings, I'm too tired for it. I want to produce good dogs every year or two, just to keep what I have going. But full time, it's just not something I can do, man. I can't do it. But I'm sure neighborhood bullies, you will make the right decision, brother. Tony, I'm from Texas. Enough is never enough. Appreciate you coming on, brother. Texas in the house, big time. Hurricane Bloodline. Greetings. I would love to chop it up with you on a live and share information on these dogs. I founded Hurricane Bloodline and spent a little over 10 years on YouTube before I got out of the game in 2019. Okay, I know Ty. Ty, I know you. My friend bought a dog from you, Coco, back in 2018, and we did a breeding with her. So yeah, man. You can add me on IG, I guess, and we can go from there, or on Facebook. My name is Ken Simonet, and we can chop it up and make it happen. Elroy Bully Kennels. Yeah, I want to transfer to the WBA 100%. I believe the past, present, and future of these dogs would be. I could definitely agree with that. Elroy, they definitely have a lot of work to do to become as big as the ABKC, but the WBA we could probably say is the future. Neighborhood Bully says, very true. I actually give away more than I sell right now. My slogan is, we don't just sell puppies, we serve family members, changing lives one puppy at a time. And that's what you got to do, brother. And surprisingly, the best homes are the pet homes, whether they buy or you give it away. Either way, the pet homes are the best homes. They take care of them the best. So man, if I could, I'd only sell the pet homes. Takri Williams says, Ty, you back? I want to interview on IG. Kenneth. Okay. Well, you got me on IG, brother. You just let me know and we'll make it happen. Tony M says, used to watch Ty videos with a notebook. Be More Bully says, welcome back, Ty. If that's Ty from Florida, okay, from the Hurricane Bloodline, I think that's how I remember. Elroy Bully says, what hurdles do you think this community needs to overcome going forward? The biggest hurdle, Elroy, is the greed. They put their personal greed over the breed. And it's just, it's sad because it's what we're seeing today. Kennel blindness, like he said too. There are a lot of people, you can only be your best when you are objective about what you have and when you can really break down and pick apart what you have. And when you're able to do that, you'll be able to look and see what you can add to your program or to your breeding to help make better offspring. And then you repeat that generation after generation. And that is what you try to do when you look at Marco Suarez. I mean, he has like what, 7, 8 generations, and that's what he's tried to accomplish. Same thing as like Waiting Gold Kennels. If you don't know Tony Gold from Facebook, you want to check out his dogs and ask him about the generations that he has. You'll see, same thing. Oscar as well. I know one time ago, Oscar said he used to be more, and I think they had a YouTube video when he said he liked it like semi-correct. And I think now he's going more like strictly correct now. I think that's what he is going in now. Marco says 9 generations. So excuse me, it's 9, not 7 or 8. And he is still going on. So to Key Williams, I'm Lucayan Bulls on IG. Yeah, Tony, it's just a nod because people already spent the money. That's true. That is true. That happens, all the time. But we're probably just gonna get it's gonna be on here probably like between 3 to 5 more minutes before we call it a night. So, is any other questions? We're gonna get it in now. While we still have the time, I have to go and help out with the baby. 9 complete gens against the Grain Bullies. Yes, you can definitely check him out on SuarezBullsKennels.com, and you can definitely see it. Very good information. Appreciate you for coming on, Mel. Elroy Bully Kennels, who are your heroes in this community? My heroes, people like I said, people I really looked up to is Donald Holmes, Marco Suarez. I would have to say Waiting Goals. I'm really liking what he's doing. I can say I used to really like what Bully Market was doing, but now to me they're going in a different direction than what I like. But Robert Lee definitely used to be one of those people for me. I just been watching him from afar, but to me now they're going more bulldoggy, so that's not my style. But some of his dogs still have pretty good conformation. Oscar, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of Oscar's dogs. I like that Mufasa's off of his blood. Mufasa's brother, Romeo. I really like that dog as well. I really like Simba. That was off of Mufasa. So he definitely has good generations of dogs, but I want to see more because I haven't seen as much pictures, on social media that I'm able to see of his blood. He has a nice dog now named Hitman, but I would like to be able to see more so I could have a objective opinion about what he has. So those guys would be it for me. Taki said, Marco, if I could get an interview with you, it would be awesome. A lot of people don't know the history. 2M says, appreciate your time and information. Appreciate you, brother, for coming on. Taki, it's Lucayan Bulls. Lucayan Bulls on IG. Same thing as our YouTube name. Elroy says, I appreciate you answering my question and giving the insight you have given. If you can add your media link in the description, I'd like to add you. Appreciate it, brother. I'll definitely try to do that when the video is done. The key says, I just want to give people information from good kennels and knowledge. Jay says, I don't even know Trapzilla. Yeah, I think if that's a chocolate dry dog, yeah, he's definitely more of a bulldog to me. Marco says, much love to you all. And I want to say the same too, because yeah, it's about time for me to help out my wife with the baby. But I appreciate you all coming on. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome to the Lucayan Bulls family. If you enjoyed the time we had, click that like button for me. Feel free to subscribe. We're gonna be having more lives in the future, um, and but we're gonna call it a night here. Stream. That's what's happening now. So is people. Yeah, Jay. That's not what what we don't think is best for the breed. But B-More says Blue Pride and okay, yeah. So like I said, man, I appreciate you guys coming. We're gonna do this again real soon. Love you guys. The channel is nothing without you. Um, yeah, appreciate it. Ryan, thank you, Rocio. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you and Marco coming on and Oscar and everyone. All of you that make the channel what it is. All of you that are making the breed what it is and the community. And we definitely have to be intentional about working together and spreading the love and spreading the awareness and the knowledge of what the true American bully is supposed to be. So, on that note, Curtis Pittman, good night. I'm going to say to you guys, peace out. Ryan Sukram, peace out. I will see you guys later. God bless. Have a good night to all of you.